What's up, users? It's the Russian dude, and recently the Federal Reserve did a so-called stress test of banking system of America. And results, they might seem optimistic, they might seem like that the major banks did pass this stress test. But if you think deeper, if you think one step ahead, unfortunately the results are pretty unsettling and depressing. Specifically, what this so-called stress test means, it shows whether banks will be able to sustain its business operations and not lose that much money to file bankruptcy in case there is a significant increase in unemployment for the US citizens up to 10% or more, and also if the prices for the commercial real estate and personal real estate decreases by 35 to 40%. In this case, basically, the combination of these two factors, the unemployment and price in housing, basically means the following. They're obviously related, the unemployment and housing prices, because as soon as people lose their jobs, one of the worst things that can happen in case they do not have any savings is that they start losing their houses. So if there is an increase in unemployment up to 10%, thousands, if not millions of people are at risk of losing their houses, so they will either have to sell at an extremely low prices or they will have their properties foreclosed. And foreclosure means is that whoever takes possession of the house, of the real estate, and tries to sell it on literally like an open auction for as minimal price as whoever buys it first, just to cover at least some of its expenses. And yes, in this case a person will file for a personal bankruptcy, but the bank will not be able to retrieve money from this particular person because money just doesn't grow on the tree. If person doesn't work, they cannot make payments. The only thing bank can do is to significantly reduce the credit score of this person, make him an unreliable borrower. So literally that's it. The bank will have to take a loss of several hundreds of thousands of dollars. And this is exactly what the stress test wants to show. What if this event becomes mass across the United States? What if thousands and potentially millions of people lose their houses, which will transition into billions or even trillions of dollars lost for the entire banking system? Will they be able to survive it? And results of this stress test, they show that the majority of big banks in the United States are ready for this event. They have enough cash on hand, they have enough cash reserves to cover these potential losses. And this is exactly what I was talking about, that the results of this stress test, they do look optimistic. But once again, if you do think one step ahead, if you do think deeper, it is not as bright as it seems. First of all, why would they even do this stress test almost seemingly like it was out of nowhere? And then they started defending their findings, saying, guys, don't worry, like everything is good, they have enough cash. It kind of even looked like, at least for me personally, is that they do know that there is some kind of internal problems within the banking system, or maybe there are some future problems coming to the entire economical system. Maybe not of just the United States, but of the entire world. So they kind of want to go one step ahead and relax and make the regular consumers, make the American people be confident that don't worry guys, your money is safe, keep banking like nothing ever happened. Another thing why we cannot unconditionally trust the results of this so-called stress test, it is because previously the Federal Reserve did it as well against majority of other banks. And well, guess what? In less than a month, 3 of them, they filed for bankruptcy even though they did pass the stress test as well. And the companies I'm talking about, the banks I'm talking about are Signature, First Republic and Silicon Valley Bank. You probably heard at least about one of them. And it's not like that those banks, they passed the test once, they probably just shuffled some numbers, well, and that's how they passed it. No. They did pass those tests 9 previous times. Every single time it was looking all good, nice, no need to worry. Because the next statements that the representatives of the Federal Reserve literally started making the very next day, specifically Jerome Powell. He did say that, well guys, you know what, right now we do see that the inflation in some particular industries, they kind of start to show the signs of budging, trying to be as elusive and trying to be as vague as possible. But at the same time, the employment market is extremely strong, which is good for people but not so good for the Federal Reserve, because they do want to see, first of all, inflation going down, and second, the employment market cooling down, because more people have jobs, it more contributes to the inflation. And as always, Jerome Powell did mention that right now we are not confident enough to start even thinking about reducing the interest rates. We need way more data, which is exactly what they've been saying pretty much this entire year of 2024. They've been saying, maybe next time we have a meeting we will have some good news for you guys, and then 1 month passed, 2 months passed, 3, well, we're right now already in the middle of 2024. The narrative hasn't changed at all. It doesn't seem at all like the Federal Reserve is considering cutting rates in the near future. Once again, it is only half year left. And one of the main things what the economy of the United States is waiting so patiently right now is for the Federal Reserve to announce that they will start cutting rates at least somewhere in the very near future, because this will supposedly send the stock market up. Until this happens, we will continue to have this relatively neutral performance, kinda slowly but surely going up, and still waiting for one of the major corrections, which is long overdue, to happen. And speaking about the jobs market, recently another US JOLTS job openings report came out, which showed that the job openings, this report was showing at 8.14 million, when the expectations were only 7.96. So as you can see, this 180,000 increase even from the expectations is exactly what Jerome Powell was talking about, that we need to see the jobs market to cool down as well. And coming back to the original point of this video, why major banks were able to pass the stress test, but in reality the situation is not as good as it seems. It is because we are now in the very last stages of the earnings report for this second quarter, right? And guess what started to happen? The major analysts, the Wall Streets, they started as one, reducing and lowering their expectations for the next 2 quarters. What it basically means is that companies will have a much easier time to beat these expectations, because whenever you are expecting to beat, just to make it plain and simple, whenever you are expecting to beat $1 million in revenue, and now the expectation is suddenly $700,000. So you release your report, your revenue is $900,000, which means that you did beat the new expectation. But the previous expectation of $1 million, you were not able to beat it. The market forgets very fast everything. They will only focus on the new forecast, on the new estimation. That is why people will be like, well, the company is doing great, everything is good. The share prices will not maybe decline, maybe it will keep neutral, but maybe it will even go up. This is just one of the ways how the Wall Street can manipulate the stock market. Once again, if you just want the share price to go up, set low expectations, the company will beat it, everyone is happy, everyone is rich. But in combination with the stress test, in combination with the US jobs data, and in combination with the inflation, which still honestly not budging as good as Jerome Powell does claim, probably he does know deep inside that it is not budging as good as they want. So the combination of these things, it does look like that the Federal Reserve, the federal government of the United States, literally just tries to calm down everyone, to calm down investors, to calm down the economy, because we might see some big, unfortunate, bad news in the near future. And if the market drops significantly, well, this is just one of the ways of the government to prepare people for something like this to happen. Well, there you have it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please like this video, subscribe to my channel if this was interesting, informative for both, and see you tomorrow.